Hey everyone, welcome to the Undeniable podcast. My name is Josh Cirillo, and thank you for joining me today. Today we're talking about our ideal life, what we want to be. And I'm not talking about where we want to be in a year from now or in a few months or just one aspect of our lives that we want to be or change, but who do we genuinely want to aspire to? What are our visions of our life? And one way to say it, what my wife and I would jokingly say to each other, the best version of yourself would be doing X, Y, and Z. So the best version of myself, I think I would have an old vintage truck and I would have a ranch in Montana or even New Zealand. I think the best version of me knows how to play an instrument, knows a couple of other languages. The best version of me is a present father. The best version of me is in ministry and helping others. The best version of me is probably affluent, that I'm able to give back and help people and provide for my family and provide for my children's future. That's the best version of me. Maybe it's even more mundane. The best version of you might read every day. The best version of you definitely might go to the gym every day, eats healthy every day, has a skincare routine. It might wear boots. Whatever that vision is of your life, that is the best version of yourself. So, the Bible says hold on, let me pull up the scripture real quick. I don't know it off the top of my head. But in Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision and make it plain. Okay? So, God says envision it. Have that vision, write it down, look at it, think about it, and make it plain. Jesus operated with that mission. Jesus knew exactly who he was, exactly what he was destined to do, what he was called to be, and we have evidence of that when he was 12 years old. When he was 12 years old and he went to the temple and he didn't get lost, but his parents thought he was lost. And they said, "What are you doing here? We haven't been able to find you for like 3 days." Jesus said, "I am of my Father's business." He knew exactly what his mission on earth was. David knew at a very young age who he was called to be. He was called to take down Goliath. He was ordained to be king at a very young age. And he operated, even though he was not a king, even though Saul was still the rightful king of Israel, he operated as a king. He did everything that he needed to do to be king like. He had an army. He led people. He had conquests. He acted like a king, even though he was not king yet. But he knew that that was his destiny, and he operated in it. You might not be where you want to be, okay? But let's start taking those action steps to get there. Earl Nightingale, I'm going to play the clip. Earl Nightingale had a video about the blueprint of your life, on how to, if you want to achieve certain results, if you want to become a certain individual, to start thinking, to start talking, to start dressing like that individual. To embody that person, because you will then become that person. If every day you're living the opposite, you will live the opposite. That's your reality. That's the truth. So I'm going to play this video now, and I would like for you to watch it and try to absorb as much as you can.
Let me give you a little known fact today that will increase your effectiveness in anything you do. It applies to doing a job, making more money, playing golf, cooking, raising children, teaching, anything at all. Now, while this has long been known by the most successful people of the world, it seems to have escaped the great majority. Whatever it is that you would like to do better, act as though you're a top-flight expert at it. And if you continue to play this part long enough, you will become an expert. When Arnold Palmer was 10 years old and on his way to becoming the world's greatest golfer of his time, he used to pretend that he was playing in national tournaments. He would even pretend to be the sports commentator announcing that the champion, Arnold Palmer, was now getting ready to tee off. You can take a great many strokes off your golf game simply by pretending you're playing in a great tournament, and that every time you swing or putt, you're surrounded by a large gallery and the television cameras. You'll find that you take more time, line up your shots better, and swing more like the pros and less like the duffers. If you can get a mental image of the person you would most like to become, begin now to act as that person would act in everything you do. Gradually, imperceptibly, you will actually become that person. It goes back to what the great German poet and philosopher Goethe once said. Before you can do something, you must first be something. Before you can do what you would most like to do, you must first become the person who can do it. A woman cooking dinner has only to act like a great chef to turn out a better meal. The student who begins to act like a top student will begin to get better grades. You can even look much better by simply acting like the person you would most like to look like and be like. The secret is to get and hold fast in your mind the mental image of the person you would most like to be. Then in every situation you act and talk as you feel that person would. You make the kind of decisions you think that person would. This is the way to constantly grow into a better, more effective person. You immediately begin to act with more confidence, and confidence is the first step to accomplishment. As your accomplishments begin to grow, which they most certainly will, real confidence slowly takes the place of the part you've been playing. Now, your life will not be transformed overnight. There'll be no sudden miracles, perhaps, but steadily, day by day, you'll grow into the image you hold in your mind. If you doubt this, try it for 30 days and watch what happens. You've got nothing to lose. The time is going to pass anyway. Why not put it to work, becoming the person you most want to become? It's the trick of the experts in every field.
The man who envisions clearly, they win. But the man who does not have a vision, they are now reacting to their circumstances. They're handed whatever lot that they're given in life. A quick example that I'm going to take out of mine, and it's probably what broke the camel's back in my life. I might have mentioned this before, but as a kid, I was dressed. I was rustic. Okay, I wanted the Jeep or the pickup truck. Wore Timberlands every day with with leather jackets and Carhartt gear, and I always had a beard as a kid. I leaned into the rustic vibe. I wanted to have a cabin one day. As young as a child, I wanted to have a cabin. I wanted to have weapons. I got little hunting knives as a kid. I really wanted to live that aesthetic in my life as a kid. I don't know what drew me to that. I think I read this Smiling Hill Farm as a kid about pilgrims and might have pushed me towards that direction. I don't know. But as an adult, I kind of lost that aesthetic. I working jobs, you dress for the job, and I was tutoring for a long time, so I was dressing like a little bit preppy to be a tutor, and then the hotel jobs, and then when I wasn't working, I was a little bummy. I might be in sweatpants, I might be in a t-shirt. That was my go-to outfit, shorts and a t-shirt. Not really caring how I looked, not really caring about like it's just clothes. Who cares? Um, but what like kind of broke me. I was always very heavy, and I was being heavy and a little bit insecure about your weight. You tend to shy away from very light clothing. You tend towards black. So I'm wearing it right now, or darker or things that try to hide your fat, make you slim you out a little bit. So I avoided white shirts, especially white shirts that didn't have a jacket on top of it or something. I hated wearing white. I never wore white unless it was like I had to for a wedding or something. I avoided it like the plague. Then my job mandates a uniform, and not just any uniform. Of course, it is a white polo. A white polo that the biggest size seemed too small on me. It showed my man boobs. The collar crinkled up at the top. As much as I ironed it, it wouldn't stay. Because it was white, it was slowly starting to fade. No matter how much I bleached it, if I spilt a little coffee on it, that stain was there faintly, no matter how much I bleached, no matter how much I cleaned it. And they wouldn't give me a new one, so I was stuck with the same three shirts. And I was wearing the same three shirts for like a year. And destroy, and I just ate it. I hated it so much. I was a victim to my circumstance because I did not have my own identity. I was not doing my own business. And sometimes we have to wear it for jobs. I get that. You're in the army, you have to wear their uniform. You're a police officer, you have to wear their uniform. Your job, you work at Target, you got to wear a red shirt, beige pants. I get that. I'm not complaining. I had to wear my uniform for that job. But I did not have an identity outside of that. So I literally wear the white shirt and then wear it for the entire afternoon. Pick up my kids in it because I didn't go home. Pick up my kids from school, come back home, pick up my wife from work, all wearing this horrible white shirt that I hated. I hated. With black jeans that were probably too tight on me and sneakers. There was no identity, there was no coolness, and it was destroying my self-confidence. I did not want to go to my wife's job because I didn't want them to see me dressed like that. I didn't want to go to church dressed like that afterwards. Sometimes got to the point that I'd leave a shirt in the car so I could just change if I really had to go somewhere. But then I'd get lazy and not change the shirt. And I literally became a victim to my circumstance. My circumstance was the hotel uniform. Somebody dictated that to me. And I defaulted to it. One day I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like, I don't want to live like this. I don't want to be this way. And what would be the best version of myself? And what kept on pushing me back from doing that is like, when I lose weight, I'm gonna start being more rustic again. When I lose weight, I'm gonna buy Carhartt gear again. When I lose weight, I'm gonna start wearing flannels. And my wife said, "Why don't you wear a cowboy hat?" And she sent me videos. She really wanted me to wear one. And honestly, I thought, why not? I've always wanted to. I've always wanted my ranch. I've always wanted to live that way. I've really wanted to. But for me, living in Staten Island, throwing on a cowboy hat, I thought I looked retarded. It's stupid. Sorry. Boop, can't say that. Um, and I did not want to. I was embarrassed. I didn't know what the people at church would think. I didn't know what my friends would think, and I avoided leaning into that aesthetic. I continued to wear sneakers. I wasn't wearing jeans. I was wearing like these slacks. I was wearing polos every day, and I just lost my identity. I lost myself, and I realized I want to be the person that owns the, you know, 300-acre ranch with horses and cows and sheep. I want to be the person that drives the ranch truck, the old square body Suburban or the old OBS Ford from 1996. I wanted to be the person that could start a fire, that owned shotguns. I wanted that. I wanted to lean heavily into that. That was my dream aesthetic. That was my dream life. So I wrote it down. I last year, and I'm gonna go over this exercise with you. Last year, I did an exercise with ChatGPT, and I said, look, if I wanted to create my life like a video game, start from scratch, and I wanted to design every aspect of my life, ask me questions, and help me design my life so I know which direction to go into. And I and it really made me think, made me really ponder and say, I'm going to start taking these action steps. Because me sitting here on my haunches, not doing anything, I'm never getting any closer to my dream life. And every year that goes by, I am slowly pushing down myself, my own personal self, and I'm slowly dying inside. So I made it a point. I've told you the story in the past of buying a house in the mountains. I've made it a point to start dressing more rustic. I'm more thoughtful with my clothes. I'm not buying something because of the sale. I only buy something if it's something that fits my personality and I say, does the perfect version, the best version of myself, does he own that item? I don't wear I wear boots all the time now. I'm to make my life easier because it's hard to put on boots. I got these special laces so they act like sneakers. I I did not want to go into the new year without buying a hat. And I bought it December 31st. Right before New Year's, I decided to buy that hat because I did not want to go into the new year without living the way that I want to. What else? Diet. I am now, thank God, by the time you hear this, hopefully it's way more, but I've already lost uh almost 30 pounds. Almost 30 pounds. And within a month and a half. And I'm still sticking to it because the best version of myself is not fat. I am I'm trying actively to purchase a vehicle, a vintage vehicle, because again, the best version of myself does that. The best version of myself is more present with my kids. The best version of myself has this podcast. It's one of the things that birthed this podcast because I said, what do I really want to do? I want to be able to have a legacy. I want to be able to talk to people. I want to have a platform. I want to be able to talk to my kids in the future. And I want to influence people in a good way. That's the best version of myself. So it forced me to buy the microphone, to buy the light, to buy the camera, to buy the tripod, to buy all the apparatuses and gear and the editing and everything to start moving in that direction. And I'm not exactly where I want to be, but it's like what we said in the last episode. We need to start doing something somewhere if we want to get to where we want to go. You can't do zero and then expect to be the person that you want. Start acting every day. Take action steps every day to envision who you want to be in life and start moving in that and moving towards that. And you will eventually get there. You might not do it all at once. You might not even realize it. But if you start doing a little bit of everything every single day, in a year, your life will transform. I guarantee you, your life will transform. If you start doing something every day, a little bit, you won't recognize yourself in 2, 3, 4 years. And that's what I want to push. Write down your vision. Write down what you want to be, and let's start living that. So now, excuse me. When you create, for some of our older listeners, it might not resonate with you, but for the younger ones who've played video games, you can create characters for yourself, right? And it's in a lot of video games you could do this. In Mario Kart, you can customize your car. In some video, like the Wii, I remember as a kid, one of the few video games I was allowed to play was like Wii Sports with the Nintendo Wii. And you can create your avatar. You can create the length of its head, its body type. I think the shirt color, I can't remember, the hairstyle, the beard. And I remember sitting there for a while, like creating my own avatar. When there was a thing called Bitmoji, I think it was, or something. I can't remember, that either Snapchat or Instagram years ago. I'm talking about like 2013, 2012, I can't remember. We used to create a little avatar of yourself, and your goal was to make it look like the best version of yourself, right? You dress how you wanted to dress. You pick through all these styles. Oh, maybe I want my beard a little shorter or a little longer, or my hair a little tighter on the sides or a little looser on the top. You'd go through all of these little things and you'd create this little version, this little video game character of yourself. Let's do that in real life. So, you choose everything. You could choose everything. Nobody hits random. Okay, just want to emphasize that. Nobody hits the random button when you're in those video games. You don't take the default player unless you're quickly playing with your friends. You don't never take the default player. If you're invested in a game, you take the timeout. But in life, we hit random. In life, we just take what's given to us. You were born in Queens, New York. Well, you're going to probably die in Queens, New York. You were born in small town Alabama. You're probably going to die in small town Alabama. Your parents weren't educated, your grandmother wasn't educated, your brother and sisters weren't educated, you might not be educated. You were a cowboy, your parents were cowboys, you lived as a cowboy, but you don't want to be a cowboy, you're going to end up being a cowboy. If you are in inner city and you're a little bit gangster or whatever, and your dad and mom were that, and your uncle was that, and your brother were that, you probably will be that. You're not going to change your life and become a hillbilly tomorrow, right? A lot of people accept whatever's been given to them in their life. Now, there are a lot of people, and I give credit to these people that grab life by the horns and say, I am going to radically, radically change my life. And there are people who do it. I'm not trying to get political on immigration, but I think that immigrants are the bravest human beings alive because they will leave their country and say, I don't care if I was born on this server. I don't care if I was born with this random uh, set of ideals, this random mods. I am going to change servers. I am going to change languages, change countries, change jobs. I know of a man, brilliant man, who is an engineer. He came here and became a painter, a language that he does not know. And he became, his daughter served in the military. He came here and built a life for himself. I know another man. He was a school teacher in his country. He came in here and he learned construction. I've known him for the longest. Again, didn't know the language, but came here and did it. I know of a woman from the Philippines. She was a doctor in her country. She came to the United States, lived life on hard mode, studied because the doctors, like the credentials don't transfer. She studied, became a doctor again. She did this twice in her life. And she's now I think in her residency. She's a doctor again. I'm blown away. Those people changed servers. Those people did not take the random selection, the default mode. They said, I'm going to do this with my life. I'm going to change my life. And I'm going to, even if it's hard, even if it's difficult, I'm going to start working towards where I want to go and go where I want to be. And my wife's family, the journey that they've taken from small town Mexico to come over here, and they're professionals, they're business people. So proud of them. Such grit. Let's have grit. Let's not if you want to go live in Bali, if you want to go live in Thailand, if you want to go live in, Singapore, what's stopping you? Yeah, there's some stuff that stops us. Maybe some finances. Let's start figuring out a way to do it regardless of finances. If it might be visas. You might not be able to do it full time. You might be able to do it part time. Who knows? There might be physical limitations to what you can do. I want my ranch. I can't afford it right now. So I've got my cabin here in the mountains, a cheap little cabin on a half an acre of land. I don't have that much land. I'm gonna get my chickens by next year, hopefully. I've got a dog. Started with a dog. And slowly, I'm going to build and do more and more. I'm going to start my vegetable garden. Granted, it's not a ranch. I'm going to start saving up, and eventually, by God's grace, I believe it, I'm going to get my ranch. I am looking into old trucks. Can I afford the truck now? No. But I am going to figure it out. I'm going to try to get financing from the seller. I'm going to borrow the money. I'm going to figure it out. And I'm not telling you to go into debt trying to do these things. Please don't be financially stupid either. But where there is a will, there is a way. If somebody put a gun to your head and said, you have 30 days to do X, Y, and Z, you're going to figure it out. You have 30 days to change your job, get any job, or you're going to die. Chances are you might fail, but you will do everything in your power to get there. Everything in your power. And even if you do fail, you will be infinitely closer to achieving your goal and your dream by the end of those 30 days. So that's my point. Act like somebody's got a gun to your head. If I told you that you had 30 days to dress better, 30 days to join the gym, or you die, I guarantee you join the gym. I guarantee you'd go to Marshall's, you'd go to Ross, you'll go to Macy's, and you'll buy your clothes. Okay? Let's live with a little bit of urgency, because you might not have the gun to your head right now. But time is ticking. You don't have your entire life, even though some people want to tell you that. Time goes by really fast. I'm 36. I felt like I was 26 yesterday, and I felt like I was 16 the day before. My 7-year-old is having deep conversations with me, and I was just holding him in my arms. It feels like a week ago. Time flies a little too fast, really fast. Don't take it for granted. Take action steps to live your life now. You want to go back to school? Don't wait until next semester. Do it now. You want to lose weight? Don't wait until Monday. Do it now. You want to talk to that girl? Don't wait. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Because that girl might talk to somebody else in a week from now and you lose them. You might get hit by, God forbid, and something and not be here. And you never spoke to her. She might. Go hug that person that you love now. Go apologize to that person now. Carpe diem. Seize the day. Carpe diem. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what's around the corner. You don't know what potentially bad could happen. But then on the flip side, you don't know what potentially good could happen. You might become a millionaire because of your idea, or you leaning into your niche, or leaning into what you want and desire. I feel that God will not, and he'll bless you, but he might not put his full blessing into something that you're not destined to be at. You know, I worked a job delivering chairs called, the company doesn't exist anymore. It's called Party Time. And it was one of my first jobs, and I would drive trucks and deliver throughout the city. And I was doing that every day, and it was like party supplies. And they had a union. I think it was the laborers union, and I wanted to join that really bad. Nobody at the job even told me about it. I didn't know. I found out months later from somebody who used to work there. There's a union. You could join it. I went to my boss. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? He's like, oh, yeah, I should have told you. He didn't want to tell me because he didn't want me to join the union. So I said, okay, let me try to join. So I applied. There was an issue with paperwork. I was trying to get that done. And then there was another job, company, a rival company called Broadway Party. And now I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to go work for Broadway Party, the bigger company. They're going to pay $2 more per hour. And again, I'm getting paid like $1 past minimum wage. This was $10 was minimum wage for New York City back then. No, $9 was minimum wage. I was getting paid 10, and I thought I was going to get 12. I thought I was going to be making bank. I thought I'm going to be joining the damn union. I am going to be, oh my goodness, I'm going to be making it. Oh my goodness. I'm going to be a truck driver. I have benefits, whatever. And I was so damn excited. And I worked for that job, Broadway Party. I worked for it for a week. And some guy hits my mirror. And I didn't tell my boss because the guy said, my truck was fine. His mirror was busted, and I said, you know what, we can make an issue of this. You don't want to, that's fine. It's like, I'm not going to make an issue of it. Don't worry. I'm not going to say anything. And then proceeds to call my boss the next day and say that he made an issue of it. So my boss is like, why didn't you tell me? Because that was the policy. If something happens, tell your boss. Why would I tell him if the guy wasn't going to make an issue of it? So I didn't tell my boss. So my boss thought I was lying. Fired me. He didn't call me back. I'm like, oh my God. I was crushed. I was devastated for this job that God did not want for me. I'm like, God, why did this happen? Why did these circumstances happen? Why aren't you allowing me to get into the union? Why isn't this working? Because God did not want that for me. And God might not want, if you're not seeing the success in your life, God might not want you to get comfortable and get stuck there. Because a lot of times we get comfortable and stuck and don't move because we're scared of the change. We feel cushy and comfortable and happy where we are. But we need to make sure that we're not getting stuck in a rut. And God might not be allowing that. So that's why you have this little twinge of, ugh, that bill's pushing me, or my boss is nagging me, or this or that, because God might have more for you. If you're feeling pinched or pushed or squeezed, start looking around and saying, well, maybe God wants me to move on to the next. We had a neighbor when I lived in Queens. We lived on the third floor, small 2-bedroom apartment, and it was a nice little apartment, but it was tiny. But God didn't want us to live there anymore. And we had a neighbor that was constantly complaining about the kids who were tapping on the ceiling, and we realized very quickly it was becoming uncomfortable. God did not want us to be there. We moved to Staten Island. Same thing. We lived there for years. It was a nice house. It was an actual house. We lived there, and then I felt right away that this is not where God wants us to be. God wants us to move on to the next. But we were stuck. I was comfortable. I didn't want to have to go applying for apartments. I didn't want to have to try to apply for a house. I didn't want to do any of that. So we stuck it, and I, stuck it through. We started getting complaints. The neighbors moved out, and then a new set of neighbors moved in. Got into a fight with our landlord over the garbage, and then the neighbors thought it was associated us with the landlord. Started hating us, created hell for us, hated us, simply because my landlord was an asshole and literally treated them like crap. Thank you, landlord. Then our landlord, out of nowhere, pulls the rug underneath us and says, "I'm selling the property. You're out." We were getting compressed and squeezed from every direction. And it was because God did not want us to be in that place, in that position for much longer. And he had something better for us. That's when we purchased our house and we moved and everything. My point is that if you're not feeling comfortable where you are, God might want you to move on to the next. And again, this is your individual decision. You have to be smart. I'm not telling you to be stupid. I'm not telling you if you have a cushy government job and you've got, 5 years left till pension and you are, tapped out and you're making, so much money and you're working for, New York City sanitation and it's not your dream job. I'm not telling you to go quit that. I'm not telling you to be stupid. Okay. That's not what I'm saying. But if your dream is to be a botanist and you're working New York City sanitation, well then maybe on the side start your garden. Start your a store on the side. If you're a New York City firefighter and that's one of the best jobs you could have, best benefits, but you don't like being a New York City firefighter, please don't quit. Please don't quit that job. Start whatever dream it is of yours on the side. Maybe you want to be an Ironman. Start doing, triathlons. Start. I still work my hotel jobs. I not crazy about them. They're just dead end jobs. If my bosses see this, thank you for the job. I'm still loyal. I'm still there. They're not my dream jobs. I don't want to be working there a long time, full time. I don't. But I'm still doing it because I have responsibilities. I have to provide for my family. I've got to pay my car payment, my insurance, life goes on. But that's not stopping me from trying to achieve my dreams. I'm still doing my business on the side. I'm still doing my podcast. I'm still doing all of it. I'm still doing all of it. No, I'm doing everything. And I feel like my wife says, and I agree with her, I always bite off way more than I could chew and then try to figure out how to chew it. And I feel like that's the American spirit. We as Americans, we're go-getters. We're the ones who go to school at night while having a full-time job. My wife did that for years. We're the ones who my friends right now, they're following in our footsteps. They started their own Airbnb. They purchased a house. Meanwhile, they live in Queens. The husband works a full-time job, sometimes 60-hour weeks, will then drive in the middle of the night, come here, work on his house, he installed floors, cabinets, everything. The wife works too. The wife is doing her thing. It's starting her business on the side while raising their kid, and they're considering homeschooling. Admirable. Another friends of mine. She's a teacher. He's a nurse practitioner working like working full-time jobs. They have twins, kids, working like animals. And then on the side, he's doing his business and he's there multiple days a week, actively posting, actively. But we have meetings with my company on the side, Catalyst, trying to help him make his videos, actively pushing and not taking no for an answer. It's the American spirit. It's this drive, this passion, and I want you to have that too. Don't take life the way it is. Start living the way you want to be. I cannot emphasize it enough. This is the core of this podcast. To be undeniable. We are not going to deny our dreams. We're not going to deny what we want and the reality that we deserve. And maybe we don't deserve it, but the reality that we're pushing towards. That's the whole premise, the whole backbone behind this podcast, to push and to go forward and try to achieve our dreams. So to go rounding back, let us plan. That is the preparation. If you don't have that vision yet, if you don't have that plan yet, if you don't know where you're gonna go, let's start with step one. Let's start with the planning phase. Let's write things down and let's start envisioning where you want to go. It might evolve. It might change. Okay? If you asked me 10 years ago where I wanted to live, I probably would have said in Dumbo, Brooklyn, between the Manhattan Bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge. My wife and I dressed up in suits to go look at apartments there, and we acted like oh my God, what is it called? Political consultants. And we told them that we made over $100,000 a year each. And this was 2016. And the broker believed us and showed us a whole bunch of apartments. And we looked at lofts and all these gorgeous places. We're like, we're going to live here. We're going to live here. I don't want that dream anymore. Not even remotely. I don't want to even go there to eat. I don't want to even go park there. I can't stand it there. I mean, if you like it, please. I'm not knocking it, but it's not for me. Your dreams might change. You might write something down on the paper now and it completely evolve and be completely different 5, 10 years, a year from now, a month from now. That should not stop you from trying to start pushing to where you need to go, because you don't know where it's going to take you. You don't know what path you have. You don't know. Christopher Columbus sailed across the Atlantic Ocean thinking he was going to hit India. Okay? He thought he was going to get spices in India. He didn't. He never made it to India. Never. He did not achieve his dream. But he achieved something way, way more incredible. If it wasn't for him taking that journey, we probably would not all be here today. If you're listening to this, chances are you're in America. Chances are you're an American. We would not be here today. We'd be Europeans or depending where you're from, you might be in your home native countries, Africa, South America, who knows? But we would not be here. America would not exist. And again, he failed at his dream. He failed. And so many other people tried to go one route and ended up another and found success. So you might not go where you initially planned, but your fallback, what might end up happening, might take you to your destiny. And that is where we said a podcast, I think it was 2 podcasts ago. God cannot steer a ship in dry dock. So you could have your boat built, prepared. But and they build it on the land. They don't build it in the water. But if you want God to be the captain of your ship, to be the captain in your life, to steer you towards your destination, to where you want to go, how can that happen if you will not be brave enough to take your boat and put it in the water? You need to start going somewhere. You need to get the boat in the water, turn on the engines, and start going someplace out towards the horizon, towards that vast ocean of nothingness, for then God to come into the cockpit, to come into the crow's nest, or whatever the terminology is for boating, to take the helm and to be the captain of your life. So today we're going to start planning. We're going to make the battle plan, the video game of we're going to gamify your life. Number 1, identity. Who are you becoming? Hold on. So we're going to break it up into 3 sections, okay? Identity, who are you becoming? Number 2, the environment, what surrounds that identity. And 3, the execution, the daily behaviors to get there. Number 1, envision the simple stuff, the most basic stuff, something that's in your control. Your presentation, the way you look. First, how do you dress? How do you envision the way that you dress? Do you envision yourself in a suit and tie every day? Maybe the next article of clothing that you buy, instead of whatever's on sale, or buy that suit if you think that you're going to be wearing a suit every day. If you think you're going to be dressing preppy, start dressing preppy. If you want to be a goth militant, I don't know, start dressing that way. If you want to be rustic, you want to buy the cowboy hat, don't be afraid. Buy the damn cowboy hat. Stop being afraid. Start envisioning what you want, but granular. Do you want to wear earth tones? Do you want to wear gym wear? Is your goal gym wear content, and you want to look like Hormozy and wear that? Start doing that. It's suits, ties. For women, is it you want to dress pretty? There's no reason. I tell my wife all the time, there's no reason for you to look like a bum if you don't want to look like a bum. You want to wear the skirt? Wear the skirt. Stop being afraid. You want to wear the nice blouse? Wear the nice blouse. You want to wear the heels? What's stopping you? Who's telling you no? So wear what you want to make you feel happy and good about yourself. Do you want to look disciplined, or do you want to look sloppy? I used to not care about my hair so much. I used to literally have my wife cut it once every like 6 months. My dad used to cut it when I was a kid, so I grew up not caring. And I used to have my wife cut it even though she hated it. And then I'd literally get it cut once every 2 months, and I'd go to different barbers because I couldn't find one that I liked. And then I cared a little bit more. I started going once a month to my wife's barber. She's great. My wife's aunt. She's a barber. She's great. And I go once a month. I now decided I want to look better. That last week of the month, I look horrible. I don't like the way I look. I'm going to go every 3 weeks. And maybe eventually 2 weeks. But I think 3 weeks is okay. Do you want to look dressy? Is that the look that you're going for? Do you want to look preppy? Do you want to look disciplined? Do you want to look sloppy? Do you want to look militaristic? If you want the identity of a boss, of a military man, maybe you go for the crew cut. Maybe you go short and tight. Maybe you want to look more suave. Maybe you want to grow your hair a little bit longer and get curls. There's a fad going around called look maxing. I don't take it to the like that's extreme. Some of them, the one that's like punching his face to create microfractures on his jaw so it's more robust. That's insane and ridiculous. But you can start. You could get a haircut and try different haircuts to see which one you like. You could start putting on moisturizer. You can start dressing the way that you want and start pushing towards the way you physically want to look. You do, and again, envision how the person, not what you want now, what you're comfortable in now, but the person that you want to be in 10 years, what that person would dress like, look like, and act like. So here's your action plan for that. Upgrade one outfit this month. Just one. Just start with one. Wear that and then wear it with pride. And then maybe remove 1 or 2 weak items from your closet, the things that you hate the most, or the things that don't fit your persona the most. Go give it away at the Salvation Army, or sell it on eBay or something, or Craigslist or whatever, or give it to a sibling, who knows. But start replacing, and I'm not saying to, again, spend $5,000 in clothes tomorrow. But start with one thing that you're proud of. For me, the one thing that started it was my hat. I bought this hat. It was like I didn't pay much for it. I bought $70 from Tractor Supply. I didn't have everything else, but eventually I found my old boots. I started wearing my old boots. I never got rid of them. I then, a month later, I bought this jacket. It was on sale at Walmart, $25. Slowly adding to your repertoire to create your identity. So now step two, envision the car that you drive, or envision your mode of transportation. It doesn't have to be a car. Maybe the best version of yourself loves taking public transportation. Go for it. I'm not saying no. Maybe the best version of yourself drives Uber Blacks and loves driving Uber Blacks because you get to pull up wherever you want and you look like you're the president's kid or something. That's fine. I think it's a little bit of a waste of money, but for some people it works. Start living that way. If you want to ride your bike every day to work to be healthy, to be environmentally conscious, start riding your bike. If you want to ride a horse to work, depending on where you are, what's stopping you? Go buy a horse. Horses are not that expensive. I mean, you need land and stuff for them, but you could, or start slowly, once a week, twice a week. And then the car that you want to buy. I made the mistakes of buying the cheapest car that I could. And I did that for years, but you don't realize how long you keep a car for especially if you have payments for it. You know, I bought a little Subaru Outback, which was cute. My wife liked it. It did not fit my personality. Then I bought a Mitsubishi Outlander, which was great. It was good on gas. I had that for years. Then I tried to mod it. I gave it a little bit bigger tires. I was forcing it. And the reason why I bought it was because it was one of the cheapest cars I could buy. And it served me well. Sometimes you have to, right? Sometimes you can't afford that, if your identity is a BMW or Mercedes Benz, you might not be able to afford that payment. And I'm not telling you to make that payment. That might not be the smartest decision right now. There's some things that you can't do, but you can do everything else around it. And at the very least, start envisioning and start praying and start pushing towards whatever reality that is. So if you want to drive the Mercedes Benz, the BMW, the big platinum F350 dually, crew cab on 37s with 20-inch rims and 6-inch skyjack lift, you might not be able to afford that just yet, but start living and preparing that one day you will. One day that you will. For me, I want a vintage truck. I might have mentioned this earlier. I want an OBS Ford. Or a vintage square body truck. A Suburban. I love the older classic big rugged cars, big rugged trucks. I love old Jeeps. I love the Jeep Cherokee, the Jeep Comanche, all those old cars, a Grand Wagoneer from like the 80s. Oh my goodness. I'm not there yet, but start envisioning it. And just make sure it's practical. It matches your mission. You want it to match your mission. Do you want stability? Do you want adventure? Do you want leadership? Do you want to look like you're successful? I'm not saying that that's what you need in order to be successful or to look successful. Some people go into debt, crazy debt, with $1,000, $1,200 payments for insane things like a BMW. I think that's crazy. But you can get something that might fit your personality, your lifestyle, that might be cheaper, that might be used. Lexuses are like Toyotas, they last forever. You could get an abridged version and maybe get something a little bit less and eventually level up. Right now, you could lease a Tesla for a couple $100 a month. Like, it's so cheap right now to lease a Tesla. Maybe you can find workarounds. Again, it might not be the Mercedes that you want, the $200,000 Maybach. It might not be the Ferrari, the Lamborghini that you want, but you might be able to get a used Lamborghini from the 1990s for $30,000. You might be able to get the Tesla. You might be able to get a Hyundai Genesis, something that's lesser that fits your desires and wants. You might not be able to get the F350 Platinum, but you might be able to get an F350 Platinum that's 10 years old, right? So again, do what's best for you. None of this is financial advice. None of this you should take as Bible, but let's stop living miserably. Right? And so for some of you, you might not care. The Toyota Corolla might be fine. My brother loves his little car. That's fine. If you're happy with that, go for that. I was fine for a while with my little Mitsubishi Outlander. It's good. It's a great car. It wasn't my dream car, you know? Start moving towards that direction. So then envision your body. This is probably the biggest one, especially for me. The biggest one. This is big for your personality, for your confidence, for the way you move, the way you act. How does the future you walk? How does the future you enter a room? Are you strong? Are you lean, athletic? I think most people envision themselves that way. And this is probably the one that takes the most discipline and the most work to try to get yourself to go to be the body type that you want. And it's not just body type. If you if you want if you're losing your hair and you want to get your hair, maybe start using minoxidil and these medications. You don't have to be bald anymore if you don't want to be bald. Um, you don't have to be fat anymore. There's Ozempic if your insurance covers it. There's again, it doesn't replace diet and exercise. My insurance doesn't cover it, but if your insurance covers it, you have help. Again, the cheapest, the easiest, probably the best for you in terms of mental toughness and discipline. Start dieting. Start exercising. Um, Maybe it's developing a skincare routine. Maybe it's as a girl, it might be just getting your nails done. Maybe getting your hair done once every couple of months, right? Maybe getting haircuts more often. Maybe wearing clothes that fit you and aren't baggy. Maybe you're hiring a stylist or just going on Pinterest and looking at pictures and saying, oh, I want to dress like that. I want to look like that. I want to have that build. I want to be that physique. It might be the toughest one, but it's something that's one of the things that are most in your control. And technically, it's probably the cheapest because a car you've got to spend a lot of money on. Properties, houses, clothing, you got to spend a lot of money on that. But it's free not to eat. It's it's free to start doing push-ups. Yeah, go to the gym is great. Going to the gym is great, but it's free to walk. It's free to do some squats. It's free to do lunges, and or very very cheap. Let's start pushing and trying to get to the ideal body that we want because that's probably the biggest game changer of them all, right? In terms of our longevity, in terms of our energy, and we'll have more. When I've started losing weight, I'm less tired. I have more energy to do things, and normally, like right now, I've got to work tonight. I'm pulling an overnight right after this podcast. Normally, I'd be sleeping. I'm up. I'm making the podcast because I have a little bit more energy. So let's do that. Let's train like the man or woman that you want to be today. Eat like the man or woman that you want to be today. If you want to start eating raw, uh, the carnivore diet. If you want to start eating keto, start today. What's stopping you? Go buy the stuff. Stop buying McDonald's. Stop buying the crap. Start eating the way that you want. Mediterranean diet, whatever it is, whatever your goal is, start doing it. Stop eating like the old character. And then envision the rest in your mind. What books do you want to read? Are you a reader? Maybe you're not a reader. Maybe you're a cinephile. Maybe you want to be watching movies and you want to be a little bit more high end. I'm not knocking it. I'm not critiquing it. Maybe if you want to be a reader, maybe it's hard. Oh, I can't read a book. For me, I can't find time to read the book. So what I do now is I get audiobooks. I play them on in my car while driving back and forth to work. Do you listen to podcasts? Uh, what type of podcast do you listen to? What does the best version listen to? You know, um, how do you speak? Are you a good speaker? Do you want to be a better speaker? Maybe that's not important to you. That's fine. It doesn't have to be important to you. Maybe you want to be a good public speaker. For a lot of my friends, they have aspirations to be preachers or pastors. Practice that muscle. That doesn't come. So for some people, it does come naturally, but for others, it requires reps. It requires work. Another reason why I'm doing this podcast, just in the list of buckets for me to do this podcast, is that it would help me become a better public speaker. And I'm noticing the change right away. I'm already being able to think way better off the fly for way longer. I used to be called a 10-minute preacher when I used to preach back at my church 10, 15 years ago. And They throw me at the last service on Sunday sometimes, and I hated it. I didn't want to do it. I was shy. I was nervous. I'm the production guy. I'm gonna do the soundboard. I'm gonna do the lights and the camera work. I don't need to be on stage. But they pushed me up there, and I'd preach for 10 minutes max because I ran out of content, and that's changed with reps. So how do you want to talk? Do you want to talk calm, sharp, measured? Do you want to have a deeper voice? I want a deeper voice. That's something I've got to work on. That's something that I haven't really touched. Practicing talking with a deeper voice, more calm, more controlled, more for me I want it to be a little bit more masculine. What is that for you? What is that for you? Um, do you want to learn a new language? Do you want to be learning something 30 minutes a day? Start taking those action steps. Do you want to become an editor? Do you want to learn photography? Take 30 minutes every day to learn that. Do you want to become a day trader? Take 30 minutes to learn how to day trade. Start taking the action steps to be where you want to be. You want to be an electrician? Go to the free Home Depot electrician schools. Go start watching things on YouTube. Start learning. Take the action steps every single day. And then remove one low value media habit or reduce it. Okay? And that's probably the biggest time waster, game changer that we can do. To put down these damn devices, put down the phone, stop wasting our time. If your vice is video games, maybe play it once a week instead of every single night. If your vice is Netflix, maybe watch one show or have one binge day a month or two binge days a month, and the rest you don't touch Netflix. And that time that you'd be otherwise be doing that, replace it with something else. For me, I don't do that. I don't play video games. I don't do Netflix that much. I doom scroll on social media. I will be stuck on Instagram and TikTok and whatever for hours getting fed this slop, okay? This brain rot. And what I do now is I'll put a timer on my phone and I will be on my phone for 10 minutes and then work for an hour. 10 minutes and then work for an hour. It's made me infinitely more productive, get so much more done. Again, this is really dangerous. Let's not let it derail our lives because it can. It can. Envision your spiritual life. And this is important, okay? Because a lot of us neglect this. Does the best version of yourself, does your video game character pray daily? Does he tithe? Is he spiritually disciplined? Are you respected in the church? Do you even go to church? And that's where I'm a little bit lacking, you know? I need to tithe more. I'm not consistent with that. I need to, and my version of tithing, which I need to stop, is buying something for the church. So I bought like my church's switcher. I bought a camera for my church. I think I bought a tripod for the church, and so I've spent thousands of dollars for my church, and I have a thing that I just won't. I have a hard time sometimes giving. That needs to change. If that's your goal, start tithing. Be consistent with it. Do you pray daily? That's probably the most important thing. I think that's a non-negotiable. You need to have a communication with the guy upstairs that's going to change your life. The guy that loves you, that died for you, and has the power to make things change here on earth for you. Start praying daily. It's a hack. It's a game changer. Are you spiritually disciplined? Are you trying to suppress those sins? And I'm not going to get into that today, but those sins that hold us back, those sins that don't allow us to reach our full potential, that might distract you, that might make you not necessarily the nicest person, or might just be harming you in different ways. And do you go to church? If that's something that's important for you to be in ministry, for me, it's important to be in ministry. It's important for me to be reaching out. It's important for me to be giving back. The best version of myself does that. And and if that's for you, right, down exactly what you want to do in ministry. Maybe it's simple. Maybe you just want to be an usher. Maybe you want to go there once a week and just literally just be in church. Maybe it's bringing your kids to church. Maybe it's more than that. Maybe you want to be a missionary one day. Maybe you want to be a pastor one day. Maybe you want to just write a book. Who knows? Maybe you want to start a podcast like this. It doesn't matter. Start write down what you want to do, and then again, take the action steps to do it. Don't wait 10 years to write your book. My grandmother wanted to write a book. She's dead. She never wrote the book. Never. My dad wants to write a book. He's been telling me that since I was a child. As of today, he still hasn't written his book. Okay? Don't let life, and he's 70 something years old. Okay? Don't let life pass you by. Do what you want to do, what you're called to do, especially now that we have the tools and the capacity to do it. You have ChatGPT. You have a supercomputer on your phone that can help. That if you write down your book, you can throw it in there. It'll proofread it for you. You don't need an editor anymore. You can literally go chapter by chapter, throw it in there, and bounce ideas off of it. Where can I improve? What else can I write? What else can I do? What else can I? If you're doing your book, if you're doing your podcast, I'm gonna help it come up with ideas for you, and maybe help you create an outline on top. Man, so I've been talking a little long, so we're gonna put this in. We're gonna make this a 2-part series. We're going to talk about this in the next episode because we're running out of time. But just envision your spiritual life. Start praying every day, at least for 5, 10, 15 minutes a minimum, and before you scroll, read your Bible. Even if it's a chapter, even if it's a verse, connect with God. And I'm just going to run over this. We'll go more into depth next time. But I want you to also envision your financial life. Do you live paycheck to paycheck? Are you strategic? Are you building assets? Do you invest? Track your spending. Envision your family leadership. How do you interact with your kids? Do you yell? Are you steady? Do you spend time with them? All of that. How do you deal with your wife, your kids? Are you married? Are you single? What structure do you want for your life? And then we're going to get into a daily checklist next time, but I want you to start there. Create 5 daily rules for yourself, and I'm rushing through this because I'm running out of time. But this is the reality. When you start to make this decision and to start moving towards that, every day will feel like you're on a mission and a goal to go there. It will consume your life in a good way. It will consume your life to become the best version of yourself. And you will stop living life on easy mode. You'll stop living life just cruising, just getting by. You stop living life while you're slowly dying. This way, by taking control and grabbing the reins of your life and taking control of your destiny, you're moving forward in the direction that you need to go and where God has destined you. So next week, we're going to dive more into this and then really focus next week on the action steps, because it's one thing to make all of this and to write it down, but we're going to go into the action steps on how to get to the next level, how to stay consistent with it, how to stay disciplined with it, and how to be better every single day, and to be unlimited. So I just want to thank you again. My name is Joshua. I really appreciate you guys staying with us. Please, please, please subscribe. I encourage you to share this video, like this video. We're trying to grow. We're trying to build a community here. We're trying to go full time into this. If you need help, if you need guidance, if you just want to bounce ideas off of, if you want to be a guest on the podcast, DM me. I want to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining me today. See ya.